Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the She Knows Pro Football podcast. Once again, I'm Alice, aka the NFL Girl. This was one of the quieter weeks in the offseason, but we still have some topics to discuss. So we're going to talk about Chris Harris, Troy Hill, Terrelle Pryor, Chad Kelly, Matt LaFleur, Jason Pierre Paul, Richie Incognito, and the CBA. So let's start with Chris Harris. Chris Harris is staying put in Denver. On Wednesday, the Broncos signed the 29-year-old to a one-year, $9.8 million contract with a max value of $12.05 million, including incentives. The Super Bowl 50 champion is a four-time Pro Bowler, a one-time first-team All-Pro, and a two-time second-team All-Pro. In his 8-year NFL career, the 5'10", 199-pound veteran has amassed 462 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 83 pass deflections, 19 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, and 4 defensive touchdowns. Harris was back at Broncos OTAs on Wednesday. Troy Hill will be remaining in Los Angeles this season. On Thursday, Ian Rappaport reported that the Rams had signed the 27-year-old cornerback to a 2-year, $5.25 million contract extension with a max value of $8.25 million with incentives. The defensive back has spent the last 4 seasons with the Rams after brief stints with the Bengals and Patriots. In his 4-year NFL career, the 5'11", 183-pound veteran has amassed 93 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, 11 pass deflections, and 2 interceptions. He is a welcome addition to the Rams. Terrelle Pryor has found a new team for the 2019 season. On Thursday, Ian Rappaport reported that the Jacksonville Jaguars were signing the 29-year-old to a one-year deal. The journeyman receiver has spent time with the Raiders, Seahawks, Chiefs, Bengals, Browns, Redskins, Jets, and Bills. In his 8-year NFL career, the 6'4", 227-pound veteran has amassed 115 receptions for 1,563 receiving yards, 7 receiving touchdowns, 647 rushing yards, 1,994 passing yards, and 9 passing touchdowns. Pryor was in attendance at Jaguars OTAs on Sunday. Chad Kelly's new start in Indianapolis has reached a minor delay. On Friday, the NFL suspended the 25-year-old for the first 2 games of the 2019 season. The suspension is a result of a home invasion arrest that occurred last October when Kelly was a member of the Broncos. Kelly left a Broncos-sponsored Halloween party and wandered into the home of a random person. He was arrested and later pleaded guilty to second-degree criminal trespass. The 2017 Mr. Irrelevant was sentenced to 1 year probation along with 50 hours of community service. The 6'2", 224-pound passer has been working with his uncle, Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, in preparation for the 2019 season. Packers' new head coach Matt LaFleur has literally been sidelined for the rest of the offseason team activities. On Friday, NFL Network's Mike Silver announced that the 39-year-old coach suffered a torn Achilles tendon playing a knockout basketball game on a Lambeau basketball court on Wednesday night. LaFleur had surgery on Sunday to repair the torn tendon. Recovery time for such a procedure is 4 to 6 months, meaning the new head coach will be forced to coach from a cart during OTAs and in June. LaFleur will likely start the first half of the 2019 season on crutches. Jason Pierre Paul's return to the field may not come as early as originally expected. JPP suffered a neck injury in an auto accident in early May. The original timetable for his return was 5 to 6 months. A month later, the timetable hasn't changed, meaning JPP's return now isn't likely to occur until early December in Week 13. This means Pierre Paul will start the season on the non-football injury list, which unfortunately means he won't be able to receive any of his $13.65 million salary until he returns to the field. The 30-year-old can avoid losing his full salary by returning to practice by week 6 and attempting to return to the field within 3 weeks. As of now, this isn't a likely scenario, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's talk about the Raiders. On Tuesday, Oakland signed guard Richie Incognito to a 1-year, $1.03 million contract. The 35-year-old hasn't played football since 2017, but the Raiders decided to take a chance on the highly controversial lineman. This is a team that already signed Vontaze Burfict earlier this offseason. Burfict is considered one of the dirtiest players in the league and is frequently fined and suspended for brutal and even illegal hits on defenseless players. Incognito, meanwhile, is widely known for racist and vulgar comments made to a former teammate that saw him suspended and later released by the Dolphins. He too has been accused of being one of the dirtiest players in the league. The question is, what exactly are the Raiders doing? And is bringing in such highly volatile players a good move for a team in the process of trying to rebuild before moving to a new home in 2 years? Al Davis was always known for taking big chances on highly risky players who looked great in combine but often didn't actually have the mental or physical prowess to turn college or combine success into NFL greatness. Mark Davis seemed to have stayed away from much of those same mistakes that plagued Oakland for a decade, but recent moves under John Gruden and Mike Mayock seem to call into question what exactly this team is trying to build. Incognito will be 36 at the start of the season and has been out of football for an entire season. While the four-time Pro Bowler has shown flashes of great potential in the past, his off-field issues and questions surrounding his mental stability make the decision to sign him very baffling. I understand bringing in the best possible players to fill open positions, but with 5-year veteran Denzel Good and rookie Lester Cotton already available at the guard position, this signing makes even less sense. Is there an expectation that Incognito can live up to his Pro Bowl form of 2 years ago? Can this locker room gel together with so many massive egos in one room? This is a definite must-watch this season. Now, on the news of Incognito receiving a second stint in the NFL, we have to once again ask the question, why is it that Colin Kaepernick cannot get a tryout with any team in the league? Incognito has openly called teammates racial slurs. Nick Bosa has openly been homophobic, xenophobic, and racist, and yet both of these men have managed to find their ways onto NFL rosters. And don't give me the nonsense that Kaepernick wants too much money, because Kaepernick has never once spoken about what type of salary he would like to receive, so to imply otherwise is a lie. The NFL wants to claim to be a league of second chances, of giving everyone the chance to redeem their reputation and career, and yet continues to make an example of Kaepernick for taking a stand on social injustice and racial inequality. The hypocrisy of the league continues to be on perfect display each time a player with a questionable past, criminal record, or locker room volatility finds his way onto a roster. Let's not pretend this isn't anything other than what it is, which is the league choosing to blackball a player who dares take a stand against racism while openly racist players get a chance to play in the NFL. This gives the continued appearance that the league feels that being a racist is fine, but standing up to racism is not. So, of course, we have to talk about the CBA. On Tuesday, Washington Post's Mark Mask reported that some owners in the NFL are open once again to the idea of expanding the season from 16 games to 18 games. This new talk comes ahead of the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement, which will expire at the conclusion of the 2020 season. Owners previously proposed the idea of an 18-game season ahead of the 2011 CBA, which was quickly shot down by the players. Owners, of course, are seeing the potential revenue that could be generated by an expanded season. Some of the proposed concessions offered by the owners include cutting the preseason back to just 2 games and expanding rosters to include more players, though an exact number isn't known. The main issue with cutting the preseason back to 2 games is, 1, this doesn't give rookies or newly signed players enough time to work out for a team and get noticed by coaches. With only 2 games to prepare, coaches will will be forced to start veteran players in both games in order to be sure players are up to playing at full speed by the start of the regular season. So how would a rookie be able to make a roster if he doesn't get reps on the field? The next issue is veterans are usually rested in the final preseason game, not only to give the rookies a chance to make the team, but also for them to be refreshed before the start of the new season. With only 2 games in preseason, these players will likely have to play in both of those preseason games in order to be ready that next week for the season to start. An 18-game season also puts players at far greater risk for injury. Yes, an expanded roster would allow for teams to rotate in more players to try to minimize this from happening, but the best players in the league tend to be expected to play all 16 games, especially if a team is vying for a playoff spot. The chance that a team will rest a star player in week 19 with a potential playoff spot on the line is ludicrous. Teams will start their best players, and players will undoubtedly suffer more injuries as a result of a longer season. Also, nowhere in these concessions the owners are willing to make is there a discussion of increased salaries or even guaranteed contracts. When you are willing to put players at greater risk to career-ending injuries, why not be willing to make bigger concessions to ensure they are taken care of for the length of their career? The NBA and MLB have guaranteed contracts, and while they have much longer seasons, they are not playing a violent, full-contact sport where players are literally risking permanent brain damage for the entertainment of their fans. To ask players to play 18 games while never even considering offering guaranteed contracts is purely a move of greed by the owners. The NFL generated $16 billion last season, so it cannot be argued that the owners do not have the financial resources to fairly compensate their players. As it stands now, players make less than 50% of the league revenue. While owners are once again trying to expand the season, the players are looking for more money, and some, like Russell Okung and Matt Barkley, are even asked to be paid in cryptocurrency. With players continuing to battle with owners, it is almost inevitable that the players will strike in 2021. When that battle comes, and when it will be won when it does, isn't known. But with growing animosity between the two sides, it won't be a battle that will end quickly. For now, let's enjoy these last 2 seasons under the current CBA. Well, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank everyone again for listening and spreading the word of the podcast. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at TheNFLGirl320. You can also read more of my thoughts on SheKnowsProFootball.com. Thanks for listening, and see you back here next week.